So welcome to this session on Edjoin, building a profile and conducting a job search. My name is Adina Sullivan-Marlowe, and I'm with the Teacher Effectiveness and Preparation team here at the San Diego County Office of Education. We are part of the Human Resources Division and have a number of programs. We run about a dozen different programs that help prepare educators along the continuum of your career, various credentialing programs and other items to help you as you grow as an educator. So we're going to talk today about Edjoin. I want to welcome you in. Again, my name is Adina Sullivan-Marlowe, and I'm a coordinator in the department. Also here with me today is Chad Lanting. Chad is helping us out in the chat. He let you into the room today and can help answer any questions you have over in the chat. We do ask that you keep your mics muted for the session. You can throw questions into the chat, and then we'll also have time to answer questions at the end. So, San Diego County Office of Education is a really big group of many pieces. We include schools that include juvenile court and community schools, 42 school districts that we serve. We serve 780 schools and about 500,000 students, as well as over 120 charter schools and 5 community college districts. And our objectives today are to help you learn how to build an Edjoin profile, learn how to conduct a job search, and how to apply for positions, all using edjoin.org. Edjoin is the job site where all of the education positions really are. It's not like when you're searching for another kind of career and you might go to various places where you go to LinkedIn and all these other job postings. For education, they are almost all posted on Edjoin. You can search there for both credential jobs, so teaching jobs, as well as classified or non-teaching positions. And you can apply for positions directly on the site. Now, there are a couple of organizations who don't post or who post there, but also on their own website. San Diego Unified is one of those. They have their own website for applications. And there are a couple of other smaller ones as well who may post on their website. When you're looking for positions, you'll definitely want to look on Edjoin, but if there's a particular school or district you're not seeing there, you might want to go directly to their human resources page of their website. So why Edjoin? It is where you can find jobs statewide and in fact nationwide. And whether it be school districts or charters or private schools, they all post to Edjoin. And again, these are for both teaching or certificated positions as well as non-teaching positions. And these are for anything from a food services position to an instructional aide to a teaching position, coaching positions, administrator positions. All of them are all on Edjoin. It's really a one-stop shop. And we'll take a look at how you can create a profile, upload your resume and other items to the profile, and then apply directly on the system. You can also save searches. So once we talk about how you can create a search for the kind of position you're looking for, you can then save those searches, which makes it faster and easier to search for it again in the future. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you will go to edjoin.org and you'll go to the section that says log in or register, and you'll want to register. This is for a new account, and you'll want to make sure that you fill in all the items that have the little red asterisk. You have to have those on there. And this is something you'll do just one time. Once you do this, it makes it easier to go back in and search for positions and then apply directly from there. To build your profile, you're going to be adding in some basic information. You've got your name and address and phone number, and you want to make sure that the address and phone number you use are your personal address and phone number and not for any other school or your Institute of Higher Ed if you're going to a college or university or to another job that you belong to. You want this to be your personal information. You also put in your employment history as well as references. And this is something that, you might put in the 3 references now and then go back and change those later. That's fine. The profile isn't finished forever once it's done. You can put it in there and then go back at a later time and make adjustments to it as needed. You'll also put in your education experience, so where you went to school, the degrees you've received, as well as your credentials and certifications. And then you can add in a resume, cover letters, letters of recommendation. For these, you'll put them in, but when each time you apply for a position, you'll want to make sure you put in updated versions of these. So the personal information, again, you've got just really basic items that are here, and then you'll want to make sure to click save each time. And then you've got your employment history. So you're going to have your most current employer, information about that person, where you worked and what you did, as well as any reasons for leaving. And you'll want to really consider very carefully what you put down for your reasons for leaving. You want it to always make it sound positive and not a negative against the place you are leaving. Anytime you put something negative like that, whether it be in the interview or in Edjoin, something like this, an employer is going to be concerned that you're also going to talk poorly about them at some point. So you want to make it seem like you're always a positive person and you're looking forward to moving up and onward and not leaving for negative reasons. Then you can add in references, and these references should be people you have worked for. References in education, it wouldn't be appropriate to put in a colleague who worked next door to you, or a friend or a family member. You need these to be people who can speak to your work and have worked with you, particularly in a supervisory position. You could also put, if you're coming, particularly if you're coming directly out of a credential program, you could put your observation supervisor, teachers you worked with into their classroom as well. Those would work for your first positions. Under education, you want to make sure that you are putting in your most current or most recent college or school attended, and the information to go with that. And then you move toward your second, third, fourth, what have you. And then your credentials. So you'll add in which credentials you currently have and when they expire. And you add them in here at the bottom. And then if there's something that you have applied for but haven't received yet, there's a place for you to note that as well. And then you'll go on to include any of the exams that you have passed in preparation for becoming an educator, if that's the position you're going for. So your CBEST or your CSET, if you passed the RECA, you'll want to go in and check those off. If you haven't completed those applicable ones yet, as you complete them, you'll want to go ahead and go back into Edjoin and fill those out so that you're always up to date. Then your resume. For resumes, you want to make sure that your resume is 1 page. That's really the recommendation. It is not more impressive to have a 3 or 4 page resume. It won't get looked at. You want to make sure that you have something that's easy to scan, easily to understand, easy to read, and has the most critical information. Now, if you have more experience as an educator, you might go to a second page. I've been in education for over 20 years. My resume is a 2-page resume because I have more experience, leadership experience, as well as classroom experience. Particularly if you are newer to education or only have a few years in, it should all go to 1 page. You don't need to add anything like, your first fast food job or anything like that, unless it has skills that are really applicable to the kind of position you're applying for. You want your resume to really be tuned into the kind of position you're aiming to get. You'll include your education, your experience, skills you have, and all of those should be, again, very applicable to the specific kind of position you are going for. It should be easy to read. And this is in terms of the kind of font you use. This is not the time to show your personality by having a cute font. You want it to be a very professional, easy to read resume. You want to proofread and proofread and then proofread again, and then come back 2 days later and proofread it again, and then have 2 other people proofread it. We as humans are notoriously poor at proofreading our own work. Your brain knows what you meant to write. And so when you read it back, that's what you think you see. And so you'll want to make sure that you have others proofread it as well. If an employer, a potential employer sees errors on your resume, it's not a good indication that you are detail oriented, that you are going to be very careful about the work when this is something that is very important to you and it has errors. So you really want to make sure to check it and have others look at it for you. One thing to note, there was a trend for a while of folks putting on a picture or their personal address on the resume. These are no-nos. You now want to leave those off of your resume. You don't want to have any potential of someone not choosing you or having any influence at all based on an image or based on where you might live and making judgments based upon that. So we want to leave any picture of yourself off, and you can leave your home address off of the resume. Cover letters. Again, they should be absolutely one page and always one page, no matter how much education you have, no matter how much experience you have. This will always be a one-page cover letter. You want to make sure you are using very formal language, being very professional. You don't want to use abbreviations. You want to spell everything out. Consider your rules on using numbers, spelling out numbers as words rather than using the numerals for smaller numbers. You want to be very formal in your language. And again, you want to be very specific and target your cover letter so that it shows that you're aligning your skills with that job description says specifically. So if you're looking just in general to start off with as an educator position, take a look at some of the job descriptions. What are they asking for? And then making sure that you're including skills that are true skills in your cover letter that match those job descriptions. When you're applying for specific positions, then you really want to make sure that you've aligned them even more closely to that specific job description. And again, proofread, come back a day later, proofread, have other people proofread for you. Now your references. Your references you want to obtain on letterhead. This is really, really important. You don't want to give anyone the impression that it is even possible you might have fabricated a reference. So you want to make sure that they are available on letterhead. You want this to be a supervisor, someone, again, who knows your work and knows your work as someone who is in a supervisory capacity. You want to make sure that there's at least 2 examples of their knowledge, that they're knowledgeable of your work. I find it really helpful when I'm asking for references or have asked for references in the past to give folks plenty of notice if you want a decent letter of reference. When you're reading a letter of reference from an HR point of view, from a hiring point of view, from a document review point of view, you can tell really easily when it's just the same form reference letter they've given to everybody versus someone who really knows this person. So choose your reference folks really carefully. Give them plenty of time, plenty of notice that you're asking for this reference, and also provide them with, hey, here's some examples of the kinds of things that I am aiming for and some of the skills I have or things that I've done that I think are most applicable. It'll help them to really tailor that letter for you. You want them to really speak to your qualities, again, highlighted in the position. It's a generic letter of reference will not be helpful, and it is very clear when they are generic. Then you can start beginning your search. And so there are some different ways to search. We'll talk about them, and then I'm going to show you actually on Edjoin. So you can search by region. So if you wanted to look all throughout California, you could do that. If you wanted to narrow it down to San Diego, you could do that, or even down to a specific school or district. You can also do an advanced search where you can select lots of different criteria and really narrow it down to the very specific kind of position you're most interested in. Okay, so I'm going to get out of here. Before we go into actually looking at Edjoin, do we have any questions that we want to address right now?
Yes, I have a question. So, what do you mean with our references on letterhead? I've never actually heard that term before.
Okay, so when you have someone write a letter of reference for you, it should be on letterhead. So it should have the school letterhead, the business letterhead. It wouldn't just be a generic, going into Microsoft Word or Google Docs and typing off a letter and printing it off. It should be printed off on formal letterhead, and then uploaded to Edjoin as a PDF.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So if I got a letter of recommendation that's just on Word, should I, like from my professor at San Diego State, so should I just ask her, like, can I have this on letterhead or
Yes,
would you recommend? Okay.
yes, absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for the question. Anyone else before we move on? All right, so I want to show you how to do some searches on Edjoin. So you can start right off by searching here. So maybe I wanted to search for all the positions for the San Diego County Office of Education. I could just type that in, hit search, and it would give me all the positions that are currently open. So right now it says there are 32 job postings for a total of 60 job vacancies. That means that there are 32 postings, but some of those postings are for more than one vacancy. So then as we go down here, you can see each of those that are available. And I didn't narrow this down. This is everything that SDCOE has open right at the moment. And you'll see some of them might say promotional only. So it's being posted, but the only people who can actually apply for that are already working for SDCOE and already in that department. They just have to go through a process to go through this promotion. It'll give you indication if you can apply online, when it was posted, if there's a deadline for the application, again, where, and you'll notice on location. So this one says San Diego County Office of Ed in San Diego County, California. You might see some where it has a location that might be several locations, might be a charter school, for example, that has more than one location, and they'll be listed there, or the specific location they're hiring for. And then you'll see salary information. So for us, there's a grade that it's given. So this is a classified, meaning it's a non-teaching position. It's management level. It's this grade, and this is the range for that position. You'll see some that are listed annually, others might be listed hourly. It'll vary depending on the school or district and the position. So I can go through here and I see there's all kinds of different positions. Some are management, classified. Here's one that's certificated. So if I were to click on this one, it's going to give me it's going to give me an ad first. It's going to give me some additional information. There we go. So they've included a video. You won't always see that. You'll see a summary of the job. You'll have on the right, you'll see that this is one that they ask for applications on a regular basis. You'll see the last one that was posted was on the 17th of this month, but they're always looking for folks to fill these openings. So they're going to keep looking until they fill all the ones they need. There are 5 different openings. You'll see what the salary range is. So for this, it's 200 daily or 205 for special education assignments. What the work time is, you'll see sometimes it'll say a number of days in the year or a number of hours a week. You'll see the employment type, and again, the location. And then you can see the requirements, the qualifications, any additional information. And then there's a button here for viewing the job description. And you'll want to do this for several different jobs that you are looking for if you're just starting off, to see what kinds of things they're asking for. And it allows you to really tailor your resume and your letter of introduction. You can also do if I go back here, I can go back to home here. I could go and do a job search here where it has the magnifying glass, and I could do a region search. I could look for the most recent postings, or I could do an advanced search. And the advanced search is my favorite. I can say, look, I want anything that's posted, or maybe if I've been searching recently, I can narrow it down to, look, I've been looking recently. I just want to see what's in the last 7 days, maybe. For this one, I'll keep it on any. And I could search for keywords, or I could also start looking for the type of position. So maybe I'm looking for a certificated position because I want a teaching position. And I can start clicking for the kinds of positions I might be interested in. So I'm going to click on the first one. And then if you hold down Control if you're on a PC or Command if you're on a Mac, I can then select additional ones that I might be interested in. So maybe I might be interested in a variety here that would be appropriate for me. And I could look for those, and then I could go down to the next section. Maybe there's some other positions I might also be interested in. So I might be looking for a certificated coordinator position or other specialists, right? And I can select the ones that are appropriate, and you'll see management and non-management positions here. I mean, all the way up to superintendent, as well as classified positions. And then I can select where, so I'm say California. And then once you select the state, you can then select the county. So I'm going to say San Diego County, and then click search. And then it's going to show me there's 190 positions that fit one of those types that I've selected. So maybe I want to take a look at Sweetwater has an adaptive PE position, and I can see what's available there. You might see some like this. So Carlsbad has one posted here for anticipated openings. So they know they are probably going to have some openings available. They've gone ahead and posted it now so they can get teachers into their hiring pool. Many districts do that. They'll use this time of year. It's particularly March and April when it happens. And they'll start putting postings in, and you would go in, you would apply. If you're selected, you'd come in and interview, or interview by Zoom, depending on what's happening right at the moment, and get yourself qualified to be in their hiring pool. That way, as they have specific openings getting ready for the start of the new school year, they have people already selected and ready to go, who they've already said, look, we already think these people are great. We'd like to have them in our district as soon as we have an opening. They can then call you and say, hey, we have this opening. It's what happened to me when I was first teaching. I worked for San Marcos Unified, got into their hiring pool. They then called me up and said, hey, we have these 3 positions you might be appropriate for. Would you come in and interview with the principal? So it would be then I'm qualified for the district. Now this school wants to interview me, and then I would interview for that school to be hired. So you want to look for any of these if you're a newer teacher. Take a look in particular, not just for openings that are open right this minute, for these anticipated openings as well. And this is exactly the time of year when you'll see that. So Edjoin, go in, check it. When you're first starting off, I would say particularly this time of year, check it every day. You'll see new positions that come open, things that change. Maybe there was a position that closed and they didn't find someone to fit their needs, and they might reopen a position. So you want to check back. And once you're logged in, you can save a search so that you can log back in again, take a look back at a search you've saved, not have to go through and select all these things all over again. So Edjoin is your spot. This is a great time of year to be looking for a position, but throughout the year, there are always positions that are being posted. You never know when something might come up. You might have someone who had to retire for some reason partway through the year, or had to move suddenly, or they thought they were going to need 3 third grade classes and actually are going to need 4 because enrollment really increased more than they expected it to. So you want to make sure that you are looking